What's up, duelists? Your boy is back. Sunday is the Lord's Day, and by the Lord, I mean the Lord of Searing Flames. Today I'm playing the most cursed deck you've ever seen in your entire life. This is my Uriah Reptilian deck. This deck plays like something out of a strange dream, a nightmare, possibly some sort of sleep paralysis demon of some people. The way the deck works is you activate a purple card, and then you activate a few more purple cards, and then you activate some more purple cards, and then eventually, and believe me when I do say eventually, you will draw a Lord of the Searing Flames, and you will summon a 8,000 attack monster, and you'll just be able to attack for game. That being said, eventually, not always will you see this card, not always will you draw it, in which case you enter into what some would like to call the stalemate zone. The zone where neither player can do anything. And so this deck can be horribly unfun. I did want to showcase it because I think that there is something to be said about embodiment of Apophis plus offering to the snake deity. Build your own pop 2. I think that that's kind of really cool synergy. Plus, I think embodiment of Apophis is a very slept on card in general in Edison format. Just having a flash creature is really nice that you can cheat in under bottomless. Like you can go like, for example, Chainlink 1 Fiendish Chainlink 2 embodiment, and then your opponent can't bottomless it because you can't special summon, or they can't bottomless something that was summoned Chainlink 2 or higher, basically. Which is really cool. And then this is also a deck that gets to play some floodgates that I think are just genuinely really insane against the format, which is like Imperial Iron Wall, Gravity Bind are both really great. Imperial Custom can be really annoying. Metal Reflect Slime is like weirdly really strong. And then one other cool thing is Metal Reflect Slime does have 0 attack, so you can send it to special summon Reptilian Vasky. So Reptilian Vasky kind of functions as your 4th copy of Uriah. So you have a little bit of an additional win condition here. Reptilian Gardener being a spammable 2,000 defense monster. If your opponent runs over it, you just get to search another one, and then you can make it even harder for them to run over it, etc. The sideboard has a whole suite of extra purple cards, lots of interesting ones that rarely see play. Stuff like Light of Intervention to prevent flip effect decks. Stuff like whatever the fuck this is comes up, I don't know. And then a Necro Valley. And the reason I have the Necro Valley is because you don't want to have spell cards that take up your 5 back row slots, but having a field spell is actually pretty good because it's like having a 6th floodgate in play, which is just... Let's just get into the match. It's a long one. Also, I got some bonus matches after this one, but not with this deck because I could only play one. I'm going to be honest, I could only play one. I apologize to my opponent, Mobin69. Nice. I apologize. I am grateful. I'm grateful that he is my opponent and that he let me finish out this game and that he's a very nice guy. But yeah, just in general, I am... I'm sorry. I apologize. Anyway, the opening hand's actually pretty strong here. We've got the synergy of offering to the Snake Deity plus Reptilian Gardener, so that's really nice. We've also got Imperial Iron Wall. Neither player can banish cards, so that's going to prevent our Gardener from being Caiused and our Uriah from being deprisoned, which is really useful. We're going to Typhon in the back row. It's a Torrential. Kind of what we expected. I probably could have just committed into it, but I'm going to set the Gardener. I didn't want him to have like a Pro Heavy or something like that, or an End Phase Space Typhoon. That would have been annoying. I'm going to set just Iron Wall. I don't think we need to commit the offering quite yet, and I don't think we need to commit the other Iron Wall quite yet either, because we don't have 3 continuous traps to send for Uriah anyway, and I want to try and bait Heavy Storm. He's going to go normal summon Armageddon Knight, send Vayu, so this is kind of the perfect matchup for Imperial Iron Wall. He's going to go ahead and attack. Now this is going to be a long match, so I'm going to show both of our hands so that I can sort of, I don't want to say calculate, but kind of speculate on what my opponent could do here. His hand, as you can see, has double Bottomless Trap Hole and Allure of Darkness. 3 cards that are very weak to Imperial Iron Wall. However, there is a ruling. If I don't preemptively flip the Iron Wall, which I'm not going to do, then I can't chain it for value against any of these 3 cards. Not that it'll come up. I don't think there's a single card in our deck that gets bottomless. I guess Vasky. Yeah, so the way Uriah works in Edison is you can special summon it. Turn player priority, pardon me, still got a cough somehow. Turn player priority, target one set spell or trap your opponent controls, and destroy that target. And because it says neither player can activate spell and trap cards in response to this effect's activation, you basically can never torrential this or bottomless this. As long as your opponent has a set card to target, you just go priority target, and then they can't chain bottomless or whatever. So Bottomless is really only good against Vasky anyway. But yeah, this is fine. The Garden is going to wall up, and he's going to pass back. And we're going to draw a Morphing Jar. But because he is on value and he set a couple of cards, I'm not really like super duper thrilled to set the jar. So I'm just going to set 2 more and pass, which is nice. He draws into Gores, which is going to allow him to Allure. He's going to activate it. If I chain Imperial Iron Wall, he draws 2, and all he has to do is reveal a Dark. Now, if Imperial Iron Wall is already face up and he activates Allure, he will discard his entire hand. But because it's like in response to it, it's like a slightly different ruling. Definitely something to note. You want to preempt Imperial Iron Wall if possible, if you think your opponent has Allure or know they have Allure. He's going to draw a double Raikou, which is actually really good for him here. He's going to banish the Gores. Obviously, he has no other options. Sets the Raikou and passes back to us. Now, the nice thing about Gardena is even if he's face down, no matter what, his effect is mandatory. So if he's popped by Raikou, he won't miss timing. If he's popped by Battle, he won't miss timing. If he's popped by Offering to the Snake Deity, he won't miss timing. So it's just really, really nice to have a card that you can set into a turn 1 set Raikou going second that doesn't get you absolutely owned. We're going to draw into Embodiment of Apophis, which is a really nice draw here. Not only is it a reptile for our offering in case this guy gets popped, but it's also our 3rd continuous trap for our Uriah. So we're going to set that and pass. He's going to normal summon Card Trooper, and mill 3 is going to hit a Vayu. So now he's got 3 Darks. He could potentially special summon Dark Arm Dragon. There is consideration to flipping an Iron Wall, but I am nervous that this is a Raikou. So I'm going to wait for him to try and put a Sirocco in the grave, activate Vayu, and then I'll chain the Iron Wall. But or either that or commit a Caius to field, and then I'll chain the Iron Wall. But as of right now, I don't really want to show him a target that he can pop for value with his Raikou. He's just going to pass the turn back. Now I'm going to flip the Iron Wall because I drew Skill Drain. So I have Skill Drain to stop basically the Raikou. I'm going to flip Iron Wall, and then I'm going to chain Embodiment of Apophis. And this is actually a really solid setup here because Embodiment of Apophis will be special summon Chain Link 2. So he won't be able to Bottomless, he won't be able to Torrential, even though Torrential is gone. And then on top of that, he won't be able to Deprison, provided this resolves, because Imperial Iron Wall stops Deprison. So it's just me summoning a monster that my opponent can't interact with on my turn, which is pretty sick, actually. Like, even though the stat line is not the best, I'm going to be honest, 1600, 1800, it's not terrible by any means, especially when you have your Icarus attack target, but it's not the best for sure. We'll go ahead and attack that Armageddonite, just get our +1, set Skill Drain, and pass the turn back. So Embodiment of Apophis does still take up a trap card zone. It says this card is also still a trap. So I can't set in the zone behind Embodiment of Apophis. So all of our spell and trap zones are occupied. That is important. That does come up a lot in this deck. So if you do decide to play it for some ungodly reason, that is something you need to know. He activates Card Trooper, he mills 3, and he mills his Heavy Storm. And now I just feel like I can't possibly lose. Because all he has is like Space Typhoon plus Raikou, and I've got Skill Drain. And so I'm going to chain Skill Drain to him targeting the Iron Wall. He's going to chain Compulsory on his Raikou, which is a really nice trick. I actually love this play from Mobin here. This is going to make the Raikou dodge the Skill Drain because it'll no longer be in play to be negated by Skill Drain. But we have another Iron Wall, so we're just going to chain that. And then he's a son of a... So, yeah, and now he's going to mill 3 as well. He mills Necro Gardena, but that doesn't matter because we have Iron Wall. And he mills Charge and Return from the Different Dimension. So Return would have been possibly annoying, but not that annoying. He's going to go ahead and attack the Embodiment, but he is forgetting that the Skill Drain is up. And he is going to take 1200 and draw a card. He's going to draw into, I believe, Blackwing Gale. Is that what he drew? Yeah, I mean, just sets value, sets Bottomless. All of his back row except for the Oppression are kind of shut off, but at this point we have Skill Drain, we have Embodiment, we have the thing to pop the bigger monsters, we have Imperial Custom, which will defend our Embodiment forever, like build your own Spirit Reaper, and we're completely set up. I think this setup is like actually really difficult to break in general. So if you can chain together Embodiments plus Offerings, actually from this point, it's hard to lose even to most meta decks once their Heavy Storm is gone, which is kind of crazy. That's just like kind of nuts that you have like a 5-card Exodia combo in this deck. In this case, it's kind of like 4 cards. What is it? Iron Wall, Embodiment, Offering, Skill Drain, plus Heavy Storm being gone, or some type of protection for Heavy Storm. So it's like a 4.5 card combo. Anyway, sets monster, passes back. We draw Royal Oppression, but we can't set this because, like I said, that zone is occupied. We We're going to attack the set monster again. He's going to draw into Caius. He can have normal Sirocco, special Gale. I'm just going to offering pop both his monsters and the Gardna. Gardna search another Gardna, and he says nothing for me there with the offering. We're just going to pull very, very far ahead at that point, and eventually we're just going to Uriah him for lethal, or we'll put him in a situation where like he's forced to Royal Oppression, and then he can't even special summon Bionic to out the board. Not that that would really help because there is skill drain in play. Game 2, he opens up with a very nice hand. You'll notice he does have that Heavy Storm and the Breaker as well. Breaker is actually a really good card that I think should see more play in Value Turbo. It's great in the mirror match. It's also great against Blackwings. I think it's just a great card in general. I think it's very underrated in Edison format. It was an all-star in GOAT format. If you're playing like one Breaker the Magical Warrior in any deck, it's honestly not a bad choice. It's like just MST2, basically. So I think that definitely a card that I think should see more play. He's also playing the Return, which I think is a very good card in Value Turbo. Very slept on. Return's a very good card in any deck that can support it, but particularly in Value Turbo because of the way it sets it up. He's also got the Turn 1 deck dev, which you'd think wouldn't be that good versus our deck, but going first on the play, it is pretty good. It does actually hit all of the monsters in our deck except Basky, including Uriah, because in hand, Uriah is 0/0. Now, if we get the opportunity to put Gardner or Sangan in play, all of a sudden, Deck Devastation Virus is terrible. It's like just really bad. So going second, Deck Devastation Virus is like actively bad. But going first, it is pretty strong. It's also a way he can deal with Metal Reflect Slime, provided Metal Reflect Slime has already resolved. And it's a way he can use Caius the Shadow Monarch through Skill Drain. Basically what he'll do is he'll sack for Caius target the Skill Drain, chain Deck Dev, sack the Caius for cost, and then the Caius will banish the Skill Drain, and he'll also Virus me. So he has basically a perfect hand. Like, you can't stack a better hand than this. Summon Greffer, pitch, special this. And this is part of the reason why I think this deck should play 3 Greffer. I think it's just part of the best possible hands you can have in Value Turbo are with Dark Greffer. I think every good Value Turbo hand includes this card. And I think every bad Value Turbo hand includes not this card. So, like, he fixes all of your bad hands, and he makes all of your best hands. So I think playing less than 3, while I know a lot of people swear by 2, and the builds that play 2 have had a lot of success, playing less than 3 just means you're going to see your best hands less. So it's like, I don't know. I don't get it. But that's just the world we live in, I guess. People don't want to try and switch things up. Makes the Armed Wing. Set, pass. And this is a busted setup because he can go Deck Dev in the draw phase, and then on his turn, Heavy Storm, or he can set up another value banish the Armed Wing, Heavy Storm, chain returned, and OTKS. Not OTK, but do pretty well here. We're going to summon the Grammel. Grammel would normally be pretty good here. Obviously, he could have something like Deep Prison, Mirror Force, so that's possible. And he could have Compulsory Evacuation Device as well, which would complicate the situation. But he has Deck Dev, so that's kind of tough. It's possible I should have just set the Sangan to play around specifically Deck Dev, but I didn't know he would be heads up enough to side it in, because after the last game, he didn't actually see Uriah. He only saw the Reptilian Gardna and Embodiment of Apophis, so it's possible that I'm still just playing like a reptile deck, a reptilian deck. That being said, Deck Dev is probably pretty good against those types of decks too, so it's a little bit silly of me to not expect Deck Dev and not commit my Sangan. Opponent not firing it in the draw phase there, but not getting punished due to my greed by summoning the Grand Mole. And that's going to cost me this game, honestly. I'm going to set 3, pass. He's got Heavy Storm, Chain Return, and there's really no coming back from this point. Like, he can bring out these 2 monsters. That's 2,800. He could then... I don't even know. Hold up. Let me see what he could do. You know... Is there an argument to Burial first? Let's see. Burial first. Return Vayu. Banish Vayu, Special Armor Master. No, wait. Armor Master, Armed Wing Greffer is not lethal. Yeah, no, this isn't the worst. This isn't the worst. This is probably just good enough to win. Yeah, I just concede. So, easy enough. We'll just go next. This game, we open up with what I would like to call the nuts. Basically, Embodiment of Apophis is like really, really strong in this deck. Like, shockingly strong. Especially if you have, like, your skill drain type effect for that matchup. Let's say your opponent's playing a dark deck. Well, if you have Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, or if your opponent's playing a light deck and you have Light Imprisoning Mirror, and then you have Embodiment of Apophis, all of a sudden it makes it actually quite difficult for them to really deal with this guy, especially if you can find Imperial Custom or another way to make him annoyingly indestructible. We draw into Shadow Mirror, so basically exactly what we wanted. This is what I would constitute as the nuts. He does have that Deck Devastation Virus, but like I said earlier, once we get the Gardna in play, the Deck Devastation Virus is actually quite bad. He's going to go ahead and normal Sirocco, Special Gale. He's going to Synchro into Stardust. We have to Solemn Judgment the Stardust. And the reason we have to Solemn Judgment... Well, we don't have to Solemn Judgment the Stardust, but it is in our best interest to Solemn Judgment the Stardust because it means that our Starlight Road is dead. Like, if he ever goes for Heavy Storm, then I can't chain Starlight Road because then he can chain his Stardust Dragon to negate my Starlight Road, and then Heavy Storm will go through. So I do have to Solemn Judgment the Stardust Dragon, not because I couldn't Solemn Judgment a Heavy Storm, but because I don't want this Starlight Road locking up my Spell and Trap Zone in a long game. So I absolutely need this Starlight Road to be live. I'm going to force, it's going to force the Solemn Judgment. This is actually a funny situation I was talking about with some people in the Discord, where whenever you see your opponent have Solemn Judgment, you almost expect them to not have Starlight Road. But in a large percentage of the instances, people will have just both if they set 5, and you get kind of owned. End phase embodiment. Oh, I can't end phase it. End main 1, yes, like I said in the chat here. End main 1, I will special summon Embodiment of Apophis. This will play around Bottomless Trap Hole and will also play around Royal Oppression and allow me to start pressuring my opponent. Just really impressed with this card. Flash creatures in general are just really strong. So we're going to summon him, attack for 16. And at this point, like, he's going to risk, like, if he goes for Deep Prison, Mirror Force, Space Typhoon, that type of thing, he's going to risk running into Offering of the Snake Deity on his deck dev. That being said, I think if I was him, I still would have Space Typhooned it, but obviously you got to hold Space Typhoon for stuff like Gravity Bind, whatnot. Set the skill drain, pass the turn back. He's going to go ahead and set Plague, set Force. I'm going to activate skill drain before attacking, in case it is Raikou. We'll go ahead and attack. He's going to Mirror Force. I'm just going to let it die because I don't really have the means to defend it, and I would like to get my Imperial Custom down so that I could defend my skill drain. He's going to draw Brain Control. He's going to sack for Caius, target the set monster. I'm going to change Shadow Mirror. He's going to say, okay, that's good. I'm going to Gravity Bind on the attack. He's going to try to Space Typhoon that, and I'm going to chain Imperial Custom to defend my Gravity Bind. He's going to chain Deck Dev. That's going to pop the Gardna, and Gardna's just going to search another Gardna. And as you can see, somehow we've ended up +5. Actually, +6. Draw, reveal the Embodiment of Apophis, and that's just the strength of these purple cards in Edison format. I think that they're actually miserable to play against, and I think that this type of deck is... When you draw like this, which is, I want to say, above average, we've drawn Solemn Judgment, we've drawn Gravity Bind, so we've drawn a couple of our power cards, and we've drawn a very strong sideboard card with a great mix of Imperial Custom plus, like, different floodgates. When you draw like this, the deck is incredibly strong. It is, like, inarguably one of the most frustrating and powerful decks in Edison format. And I think that people really underestimate how good floodgate strategies can be, provided you have enough negations. I think this engine of the Gardnas is something that I haven't seen before, and I think that it supplements this in a nice way because A, it deck thins so you draw the right cards, B, it supports the Offering to the Snake Deity so you can pop your opponent's problematic cards and go for game, and then C, it's just really difficult to get through under Gravity Bind. He draws Raikou. He's just going to pass. We're going to draw Metal Reflect Sign, reveal it, just pass. He draws Heavy Storm. He's going to go for it because at this point, if it doesn't resolve, I mean, he's lost. But we do also have the Starlight Road. And he's going to say, what's he going to say? Nothing. I would also say nothing there. Because there's never really going to be a better point for you to Starlight Road there. Not Starlight Road, Heavy Storm. You can make an argument for like trying to set up Raikou compulsory into Heavy Storm. But like, you have to wait so long for that to happen that you risk me finding Uriah at that point. So now my game involves finding Uriah. You know, that's just my game here. Opponent draws Vayu, sets Vayu. I draw Imperial Iron Wall, pass. He draws Mega Hamster, sets it, pass. We draw this card. This is a card worth setting because if he commits like double Dust Tornado, something like that, I can end phase do this. He's going to draw Icarus attack, set. Oh my gosh. Punished. Going to hit both. Shouldn't have set the brain control there. We're going to draw into another trap card, pass the turn back. He's going to draw into his Armageddonite, pass the turn back. Draw, end phase discard continuous traps. I need my Uriah to be strong, so I'm just going to start end phase discarding continuous traps that are superfluous. Draw, end phase discard, draw, sack for Caius, passes the turn back. Draw Space Typhoon, that's going to be important so that when I do special summon Uriah, if they do have Royal Oppression, I can chain Space Typhoon, target the Royal Oppression. Discard the Embodiment, draw, go, discard Mirror Force, draws Burial, discard Mirror Force, draws Necro Valley, and it is really important at this point that my opponent has not seen Uriah. It is really important that he does not know about it. Because one of my win conditions is literally him just making sure this Caius is in attack position on the turn I go for game, and him not having Book of Moon. That's like straight up my win condition. I draw Necro Valley, I activate it. So this is kind of why Necro Valley is nice, because it's just a 6th floodgate that you can put into play to make it even more difficult for your opponent to ever do anything. Now, Necro Valley is nerfed in Edison format. It only prevents cards that target cards in the graveyard. So it won't prevent like Plague Spreader reanimating itself or Treeborn Frog coming back, but it will prevent like Vayu, and it will prevent something like Dark Arm Dragon from activating, and it will prevent Chaos Sorcerer from being summoned. So those are kind of the cards I care about right now, and plus I do have Stardust to defend against another big pop. Anyway, he's just going to pass back. We're going to draw Mole. We're going to normal Mole, attack the set monsters. I just want to try and clear the set monsters if possible. Now, I know Mole is negated by Skill Drain, but we're going to take 900 here, which is a little bit unsettling. Draw Offerings. Don't need 2 of those. Just attack the other set monster. Like I said, I just want to make sure the monsters are clear so that when I do draw Uriah, I can eventually start to pressure. Discard Shadow Imprisoning Mirror in the end phase. Pass the turn back. He finds Rhoda. He Rhoda's for Dark Refer. Normal sets Armageddonite. Now I know at this point he understands my game plan, so I know that the monster he set has bigger defense than Neospatian Grandmole, so I'm just going to go end phase discard. He's going to draw. He's going to set monster pass. I'm going to switch the Mole, end phase discard, pass back. And we're kind of just like sculpting the perfect hand. He's also doing the same, but he's just in an awkward spot where like his outs to the Shadow Mirror and the Skill Drain under Imperial Costume are probably very, very low. Like at most, he probably has 2 more Dust Tornadoes left in his deck. Otherwise, I'm not really sure what it is he can do. I'm going to be honest. He's going to Vortex. We're going to negate Stardust. He's going to flip. Torrential. Pops our monsters. Gardna's going to search Gardna. And then this is an opportunity for us to find Uriah and start applying some serious pressure. He's going to summon Card Trooper, hit for 400. Set 1, pass back. We draw Magic Planter. Set Reptilian Gardna. End phase discard. Pass the turn back. He says, we troop in. You really did choose violence today. Honestly, I did choose violence, but my deck is like surprisingly drawing weirdly bad, where I haven't seen a single Uriah in the top 27 cards. And so even though we opened up the nuts, we're actually looking at like kind of a weird potential deck out situation. If he's able to defend himself for the next 13 turns, I will lose this game, straight up. So what is not necessarily a close game in terms of like how many outs he has to this specific situation is ending up looking like a close game because Reptilian Gardna is mandatory and he did blow one up and we have less cards in deck. So as long as he doesn't mill and he doesn't draw and we find Uriah too late basically and he's able to defend himself, then we will lose this game. We're going to draw Offering of Snake Deity, end phase discard. He's going to draw Dust Tornado, pass back to us. We're going to draw Royal Oppression, end phase discard. He's going to draw Necro Gardna. And up until this point, I just want to commend my opponent. I think he's played this game really well. I think he's legitimately played all of the chances he's had to kind of win it. I think that Vayu Turbo is normally a deck that actually has a pretty good matchup against these Floodgate-style decks. However, it can be really difficult if they're able to defend some of the key ones and then stop you from attacking. So, like, the fact that we have a way to negate the effects and stop attacks, that's pretty much the 2 pieces you need to completely shut down Vayu Turbo. As long as you have those 2 cards, their deck can't play. This deck is fundamentally a very fair deck. You just summon a vanilla monster and hope that that is good enough. It has very little, like, unfair access of play. Like, it's not playing, like a Spell and Trap card combo. It's not playing, like, Giant Trunade, or some of those like really busted unfair cards. It's not playing Phoenix Wing Wind Blasts and multiples, that type of stuff. So this type of deck will really struggle if you've shut off the effects and stop their ability to attack. Anyway, he's going to go Dust Tornado, target the Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. And I honestly can't blame him. This game has been legitimately super fucking long. 30 minutes at this point. The fact that he forgot Imperial Custom was there is like honestly fair. Honestly, at this point. And even if he does hit the Imperial Custom, even if he does hit that, well, what are you doing after? You know what I mean? Like, you still don't have plays after that. So, the big mistake he's making here, though, that isn't activating the Dust Tornado, targeting the Shadow Mirror, it's leaving the Card Trooper in attack position. We draw for turn, we find Reptilian Vasky, discard Magic Planter, and the turn. He sets a monster, passes back, continuing to leave the Card Trooper in attack position. Very nice for us. Very, very nice for us. He thinks we're locked under our own Gravity Bind, so it's key. It's crucial. It's crucial here. Anyway, I want to discard the Reptilian Vasky. Even though it's not optimal, I just want him to think I'm on a heavier Reptilian deck than I actually am. Because I don't want him to think about Uriah and switch the Card Trooper to defense. So, I'm trying to trick him into thinking I'm playing a deck that I'm not actually playing. By showing him cards that, like, showing him more offerings, showing him, like, Magic Planter, that type of stuff. I want to show him cards that do not say or scream Uriah. Even though at this point it should be really fucking obvious. It's possible Uriah is just not even on his radar. It's not a card that's commonly played at all. End phase, or I'm just going to set the Sangan, kind of turtle up. Sangan's useless here. It doesn't do anything for us, but, you know, it's fine. It's whatever. He's going to set back row pass. We're going to draw into Metal Reflex Time. End phase, discard that. He's going to draw, set pass. We're going to draw, pass. And at this point, I have 6 cards left in my deck. 3 of them are Uriah. So I have 6 turns where I, like, essentially have a 50-50 or better to rip my win con. I just need him to leave Card Trooper in attack position for those turns and not have a way to stop my Uriah. That's it. That's all. I need that to happen. I need that to happen. Anyways, end phase, I pass back. He passes back. I draw Magic Planter. And now I have 5 cards left in my deck with 3 Uriah left in my deck. End phase, discard Magic Planter. He draws. And I think my opponent is checked out from this game. But legitimately, at this point in the game, all he has to do is set a breaker and switch his Card Trooper to defense, and I've lost, which is infuriating. It is frustrating to a degree that I didn't think possible. Anyways, we draw another Royal Oppression. 4 cards left in deck. 3 Uriah left in deck. Still haven't seen a win con in the top 36 cards of our deck. Pass the turn back. He draws Vayu. He sets Vayu. We draw Imperial Iron Wall. And now we have 3 cards left in our deck, all 3 of which are Uriah, the Lord of Searing Flames. I am so sorry to my opponent that he, A, had to sit through this, and B, at the very end of everything, punted it all. Says back row. We finally draw Uriah. At this point, it is a 100% chance that we are going to draw Uriah. I'm going to send the Skill Drain, the Gravity Bind, and the Imperial Custom. A, because we have another Imperial Custom and Fiendish Chains. B, because I need to let this guy attack and can't negate his effect. So I'm going to special summon out Uriah. He's got Solemn Judgment. So I have to set my back row here. I have to set my Fiendishes. I could have Blind Typhooned there, but I need to save it for a Royal Oppression on the summon of my next Uriah. And my opponent's going to make Play of the Century for us, which is just pass back with Card Trooper in attack position. All he had to do was switch it to defense position, and he won this game. That's all he had to do, was just switch this guy right here, just switch him to defense. That's it. That's all he had to do. That's all my opponent had to do. But he didn't. And so we're able to special summon Uriah. Priority pop. Typhoon the other background because it's D-Prison. Attack for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17,000 damage. That is the most I have ever attacked for in a game of Yu-Gi-Oh! in a single attack. By far. That is insane. It is also insane that the last 3 cards on my deck were Uriah. I don't think I've ever been simultaneously this lucky and this unlucky. But next time to my opponent, all you got to do is switch card Trooper to defense. Just unbelievable. Unbelievable. When people are like, I got unlucky, just show them this match. They'd be like, did you get this unlucky? Were all 3 Uriah the last 3 cards in your deck? Honestly, shout out my opponent for being such a good sport and for sticking it through that very, very long match. 35 minutes. Honestly, brutal. Let's hop into a bonus match. I feel like that's a fun match, but you guys want a longer video. And you guys want to see some fairy action. Another Lord. Sunday's the Lord's Day, right? The Arch Lord's Day. This is a fairy build. I'm going to show you guys a couple games with fairies here. I'm not really high on Archlord Christia lately. I think it just, weirdly enough, is too clunky in this build of the deck. I think Christia Sworn supports it a little bit better. I think this style of deck with like Dialk, DD Warrior Lady should play like stun cards. Stuff like Thunder King, Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer. Just because you can play it earlier. Royal Oppression, I think, is a card that's really good. Having to play Archlord Christia and Soul Release in the same deck just to support it, it becomes really awkward and clunky. And I'll show you what I mean here in these matches. I believe the first match is up against Natural Harmony. I got 2 bonus matches, actually. Both of them were like absolutely marathon matches. Insanely long. Anyway, this game we open up with some pretty strong cards. I love opening Grand Mole in this deck. My opponent opens up with Future Fusion, sends 5 dragons, sets 2 back row, and I'm like, well, I lose. Brings out 1 Red Eyes. Draw phase deck devs, game 1. I'm like, okay. That's cool. No, it's cool. It's what I deserve, honestly. It's what I deserve. For that Uriah game, I deserve this. That's, I deserve this on top of the last 3 card being Uriah. I'm just going to concede. We're just going to go game 2. But that being said, I think these Dragon Virus decks are incredibly clunky. I think it's one of the worst ways to play dragons. I think DD Warrior Lady Dragons is infinitely more consistent. The viruses are shockingly not that good when you have them in multiples. Like, the first one is always going to be insane, but the second, 2 or 3 kind of just, brick while your opponent unbricks onto the virus. They normal summon Red Eyes Wyvern, they attack, well, actually, it's not a misplay. He doesn't know we're playing fairies. I didn't show my hand, so it's actually totally fine play. He's going to go ahead and set nothing. We're going to draw into Call of the Haunted. So now I want to get Dimensional Alchemist, if possible. I'm going to go Crash, grab Alchemist, and I'm going to crash the Warrior Lady. I'm going to get the Alchemist in defense. I don't want to play into Gores and then turn on his virus, basically. I want to get Alchemist into play in case he's going for a big virus play or something like that. I don't know. It also turns on my Call of the Haunted. It gets me back Warrior Lady. It leads me to start banishing all his monsters. I just like Alchemist. I just think he's good. We banish Solemn, so I can't really afford to just bluff Solemn by setting a bunch more. He's going to normal Red Eyes attack. We're going to grab back DD Warrior Lady. It's possible I should have just said, fuck it, you don't have Gores, but I don't know. This deck it bricks, so it's possible he could have just been bricked, End phase, we're going to Dust Tornado, hit his Space Typhoon, and set our Call of the Haunted off of that Dust Tornado, leading us to be able to call, bring out Dialk. Dialk activates, reveals Honest, really nice card for us to see here. Normal summon DD Warrior Lady. I could have summoned the Breaker and ran over the Red Eyes, but I was a little bit scared of Brain Control. Would have been kind of annoying. I'm just going to crash and get back my Honest and then attack for 15. This allows me to start pressuring under Gores, because Gores into Honest Warrior Lady, I get 2 for 1, but we already +1, so it's 2 for 2 basically. Upstart Goblins, we gain 1,000. He's going to normal Exploder attack. I'm going to banish both. Just keep his dragons out of his graveyard so he can't easily summon Red Eyes or get value out of his Red Eyes if he does summon it. He's going to set 3 and pass. I'm going to go ahead and Heavy Storm, and he's going to concede. So both of us conceding to a big sweeper card. Going into game 3, though, it's going to be tough. I mean, if he has that Future Fusion again, plus a virus card, that's a kill con right there. Anyway, we are going second. And our opening hand is Christia, which, not great when you don't have access to the fairies. I'm going to be honest, not ideal. But you do have to side in Breaker versus these matchups, and Christia is just, it's a win con under the viruses, so you have to keep it. Royal Oppression here is very strong. It's going to be very useful in this matchup. The opponent has actually quite a start here. He can set, and he can Eradicator turn 1, which I'm assuming he's going to do. And he is, and he's going to name trap cards, which is actually a pretty good call. It's going to prevent me from being able to use my Dust Tornado or my Royal Oppression. It's also going to give him 100% information for the next 2 turns. So really, really solid Eradicator from the opponent. This card is ridiculous. If you can support this card across multiple formats, it's one of the most broken cards. I think this is actually another card that I think should be innovated into Value Turbo, especially with 3 Greffer. You can send Elfin and then have turn 1 Eradicator in a bunch of matchups, and that's, let me tell you, it's even better than deck dev in most matchups. Like calling spells versus frogs, you hit half their deck. It's crazy. DD Warrior Lady attacks for 15. He draws into a Prime Material Dragon, so even brickier than I imagined. Playing some cards that definitely shouldn't be in this deck. Going to banish both. Main phase 2, he is going to set his Torrential Tribute. We're going to rip Gores, which is actually a nice draw. I did decide to leave in the Gores and the Trigodia. I know that I normally side them out against dragons, but the Virus Dragons usually only has like 1 Drago. So it's like, what are the chances? I summon Breaker. He knows about it, so it's going to eat a Torrential, but I figured Breaker eating Torrential is better than Gores eating the Torrential, and now he can't really afford to play into Gores. He's going to draw deck dev, set it, pass. We're going to draw a trap card, so he gets a 2 for 3 off the Eradicator, which is really annoying. He's going to draw Upstart, Shotgun, finds Red Med. He's not going to Allure it away, though, and I think that's a punt. He definitely should. Draw a Mirror Force, pass. He allures, banishes the Red Med. He should have done that a turn earlier. Sets the Typhoon, sets the Fusilier, passes. We draw Brain Control. He's going to Dust Shoot us first to get info on whether he should deck dev or Erad. He's going to take Gores. I'm going to set 3 and pass. I want to blank a Space Typhoon. Thankfully, he does have Space Typhoon, so that's pretty good for us. He's going to flip Fusilier. He's going to try to deck dev us, but that's not how that works. Once this guy is flip summoned, he is not 2,000 attack, so you can't do that. And us knowing about that deck dev is going to be crucial. He's going to go ahead and attack. We are going to flip Mirror Force, just because I don't want him to have like Skill Drain and make it stronger. If I go Mirror Force, he chains Skill Drain. He can't then chain deck dev because Skill Drain hasn't resolved. So I want to just Mirror Force up front. He sets 1, passes. We draw Herald of Orange. I'm going to Mind Control. He's going to chain Erad, naming spells. He knows it's going to hit 2. I show him the Herald of Orange, which is going to be useful for us actually in stopping a potential way of him getting another 2,000 Dark in play for that deck dev we know he has. So like I said, the viruses do just kind of brick once you've resolved the first one. Gores is going to be a draw, but that's going to be completely dead. We draw into Christia. He draws Reaper. I'm shocked he didn't attack me directly with Reaper, but we would have just heralded it, so I think he understands that. We reveal Shining Angel. I just set Shining Angel pass. He sets Red Eyes Wyvern, passes. We draw into a second Herald of Orange. We're going to flip the Angel, normal summon, Synchro to Bionic. I figure that he might have 1 live back row, but I can bounce it, and then I can special Christia and add back the other Christia in case I get that deck dev. That deck dev hits me, then I will at least have another Christia follow up. He draws into Drago, but too little, too late. At this point in the game, we have Christia Bionic, and so it's going to be a matter of time. Have you ever won a game where you've been Eradicated twice and then Dust Shooted? Me neither. Me neither. He gold starts for Mirror Force, realizes that's a meme. We are eventually going to be able to close out this game by the time he gets that Mirror Force. So, GG's to the opponent. That was a fun one. Pretty cool game. And the final replay I want to show you guys is versus Crystal of Darkness. Really, really cool dude. He's playing Teleport Zombies. And I am playing Fairies. He's got set back row pass. We got set pass. I'm always wary of a lone set Torrential when no monsters are played. We are going to Dust Shoot. See his hand. And here I decide to take DD Crow, because that means if he wants to alert, he has to banish the Gores. I'd rather him not banish DD Crow, because DD Crow does nothing in this matchup, so I'd rather shuffle back the dead card, and then put him in an awkward spot with Allure, and we can play around Gores for the rest of the game anyway. Like, we don't need to play into it. He sets 2 back row, kind of just like confirming that we know about Gores, we can play around it. But I think his big misplay here is not using the allure and just banishing the Gores. Just get 2 fresh ones. Like, this Gores is never going to be live, so. I'm going to flip Raikou. I'm going to target one of the new ones because I know that they're not chainable. So we're going to hit Typhoon, mill 3. It's really nice because that means my Mirror Force and my return are most likely to be safe. Hit for 200, set DD Warrior Lady, set Mirror Force, pass. He's going to draw Heavy Storm, pass. We are going to attack for 200. Again, scared of that Torrential a little bit. Pass. He's going to draw Plague, set Plague. I'll flip Warrior Lady here. He's got Bottomless. It makes me happy because my Alchemist is now live. I'm going to summon Alchemist, activate, banish another Warrior Lady. Go ahead and attack. Attack for 200. And I will set the return and pass. Now, there's an argument to not setting the return here because there's very unlikely I'm going to return next turn for 2 DD Warrior Ladies while my opponent's at 7,400 while he has Gores in hand. So there's actually a big argument to not setting it. Plus, with the Typhoon gone, like, the only way he clears my back row here is Heavy Storm. He's going to go for set Monster Pass. We're going to draw Card Trooper. That's another card I'm comfortable committing into a possible Mirror Force. I do think his set card at this point is Mirror Force. We are going to mill 3. And we are going to go up to 19, attack over the Sangan. And I'm going to be able to connect here for 2,000. I'm a little bit surprised. I don't want to say surprised, but I'm a little bit surprised he didn't Burial then drop the Gores. I thought that was kind of the idea. That being said, if he did that, I mean, we just have Mirror Force plus Honest plus Ratio. It's like, but I still think that might have been not the worst play for him. Anyway, he draws Cyber Valley. He's going to go ahead and summon Goblin Zombie, activate Plague, stacking, Synchro into Revive King Hades, Goblin Zombie Effect Search, grab Zombie Master. This is so risky. He's going for the maximum value Burial, but he could have also just Heavy Stormed before doing this, in case I have Bottomless. That being said, he sees Oppression is gone and Torrential is gone, so it's literally just 2 Bottomless Solemn that stops him here. And I think he's pretty okay with that trade, given that he has Mirror Force plus Gores to sort of stabilize. He's going to go ahead and Heavy Storm now, Chain Burial, and that's going to work out really well for him. Just straight up. He's going to attack over the Card Trooper. Revive King is insane versus Fairies. It's like one of the best cards you can summon. Says Mirror Force passes, we draw Bottomless. You get the idea. Always draw Bottomless after the threat is resolved. Son of a bitch. Attack. We are forced to Honest. He's not going to Mirror Force here because it'd be a silly Mirror Force. He's going to take 18. We'll attack for 200. Once again, it'd be a silly Mirror Force. Set Bottomless, pass. He's going to draw into Mystic Tomato. That's going to get in under Bottomless, but we can just float into another Alchemist. No big deal. On our turn, we're going to draw Book of Moon. I'm just going to switch to Raikou. Normal Shining Angel swing. He could Mirror Force. I'm happy to take this 1-for-1 trade with either Book of Moon or the Shining Angel. I just want to clear the Mirror Force as soon as possible. And if he doesn't take the trade, then we grab Cyber Valley, and we have Mind Control Cyber Valley for main phase 2. So he's Chain Link 2, so he has to resolve his first. He's going to grab Krebins. We're going to grab Cyber Valley. I'm going to Mind Control, take his monster. And this is why Mind Control Cyber Valley is in every winning version of Fairies, because it's just so damn good. We're going to banish both, draw 2 new cards. Unfortunately, we're 24 cards into our deck. We have exactly 4 Fairies, and we haven't seen Christia. Just unlucky, honestly. Set Solemn, set Book, pass. He's going to normal Tomato, attack the Raikou. I'm just going to let this resolve. I could book the Raikou, but I don't want to mill more Fairies than rip Christia and be annoyed. I'm going to set DD Warrior Lady, pass. He's going to normal Goblin. This is all fine. He can't get over Warrior Lady, so he's just going to take 200, pass. We're going to draw into Sangan, and we're getting into another situation like we were in the first match, where Archlord Christia is literally the bottom 2 cards of my deck. And it's just like, bro, I set Sangan. I pass. I'm like, okay, if they're the bottom 2 cards of my deck, I'll shuffle my deck with this Sangan. He's going to go ahead and normal Goblin or Zombie Master, activate with priority. We're going to chain Bottomless, but unfortunately for him, Zombie Master needs to be face up on the field to activate and resolve, so he's not going to be able to get back his Plague here. That's just going to be a +1 Bottomless from us. He's got Return, which is a strong card, but unfortunately he didn't get value out of the Cyber Valley first. He's going to attack Sangan. Sangan's going to search Honest. I'm trying to set up a game shot. I'm not exactly sure how, though, because we've already used one of our Honests. Maybe Christia double Honest, but he still has that fucking Mirror Force. So maybe Christia double Honest with Solemn backup. I have 13 cards left in my deck. He sets back row. I draw to 12. Still no fucking Christia. He's going to go ahead and set, switch. Draw 11 cards left in my deck. Still no Christia. Like, bro, come on. Bro, come on. Like, this is so dumb. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. He's going to switch an attack. This is not a good attack. You know I have Honest. I searched off Sangan. I draw Soul Release. This means I can commit more fairies and have a Christie alive still later in the game, but at this point it's getting to like I no longer have Heavy Storm and Space Typhoon, so I like can't win through multiple back row. Honest is going to bounce. Normal summon Dialk. Attack the Goblin Zombie. He's going to Goblin Zombie search Zombie Master, so he's playing 2 Zombie Master, which makes this deck even more difficult to deal with because that means he has a lot of late game, mid game synchro plays. Without having to banish his Plague, he's going to attack the Dialk. We'll just take the damage. I want a special Trag, and I want to add back Nova Summoner. On my turn, I'm going to try to steal his monster and use it to force his own Mirror Force. Tragodia being the MVP here. Pass it back to us. We draw Call of the Hunted. Still no Christia. Top 31 cards, no Christia. Okay. Tragodia activates. Take Zombie Master. Brain Control. Take the other monster. Attack with Mystic Tomato. And this is actually a really, really interesting setup. He's going to go for Call of the Haunted. I'm going to let that happen. I'm going to attack with Mystic Tomato. He's going to activate. I'm going to activate Herald of Orange Light. Because this is all on a replay, he can't deprison or Mirror Force. So I attack for 14. He has to take the 14. I'm going to attack for 18. He's going to go for deprison. I'm going to Solemn Judgment. And because you can't chain Mirror Force to Solemn Judgment, that's game. Straight up. He could return to survive a turn, I guess. Yeah, he could have returned to survive a turn. But I think he concedes. He tries to Mirror Force. I'm like, you can't. He says, I am nervous. I watch your YouTube channel. I am from Germany. Shout out to all my German viewers. You guys are awesome. You guys are the best. I love you guys. German players are super tight. They're hella good. I think my opponent's hella good. I think he was just a little nervous that game. Honestly, quite a few mistakes. Not using the Allure, not setting up for the Gores, and he definitely had like winning chances just because my deck was drawing so awkwardly. But yeah, this hand's really weak to Revive King Hades. I normally side out Honest versus zombies, but if my opponent shows they're like really aggressive on the Hades plan, I leave it in. His hand is actually quite good. He's going to go ahead and set, pass. Normal Shining Angel, attack for 14. Set Bottomless, pass. He specials Cyber in defense. Now, normally you'd want to Bottomless this, but I figured because I have Dialk, I'm actually okay with my Shining Angel getting Caiused. Because if he Caiuses it, then my Dialk is live. So I actually want him to Caius here. I want him to get the Caius out of his hand. But then he just passes, which is really annoying because that means I have to overcommit my normal Alchemist, banish, miss, of course, switch the Shining Angel, attack. He's going to deprison. That's fine. That means the next one is live. He's going to normal Krebins, attack with the Krebins. Now this is actively a misplay. You should almost never give the fairy player tutors or deck thins. He's going to attack Shining Angel. We'll take 700. Special summon out DD Warrior Lady. Pass. We draw Brain Control. And now we're in an interesting spot where we could like crash DD Warrior Lady, Special Trag, main phase 2, like Brain Control Kreven, Synchro 6. There's a bunch of stuff we could do here. I decided to just Brain Control target Krebins. And he's going to Solemn Judgment. And now I'm like, what do I do? He's at 3,300. Is there a game shot here? And the answer is no, unfortunately. There's a possible game shot where we normal Alchemist and we flip specifically the second Honest. That could potentially be a game shot. But, yeah, anything other than that just doesn't work. So I have a couple of options. I could just ram the DD Warrior Lady, banish the Cyber Dragon. I could try to get lucky with the Alchemist flip, but it's a 1 in 29 chance, which I don't love. And then it kind of puts us in a weird spot where we have 2 level 4s in play and he like Black Rose us. Not that that's terrible, but it's just an annoying 2 for 2 that is likely going to happen anyway, but I don't know. I don't know if I should have done that or not. It's tough. It's tough to say. I probably should have just risked it in hindsight. Anyway, I'm going to attack the Krebins. I want to just make him pay 8. Because I want to deal damage this turn so I can try and set up for this Honest game shot. He's going to draw. He's going to sack for Caius, target the Warrior Lady. I'm going to chain Bottomless. We are going to lose the Warrior Lady though, which sucks. He's going to attack for 12. Getting so much value out of this Krebins. We're going to drop Tragodia. He's going to set a back row. we're going to draw another Warrior Lady. So we drew all 3 Warrior Ladies, which is normally good when they draw the zombie half of their deck. But as you can see, my opponent did not draw the zombie half of his deck. He drew the Krebins half of his deck. And we didn't draw a 2-star to steal the Krebins. We didn't draw Herald of Orange, which sucks. So, kind of awkward. Normal Summon Alchemist, flip Herald of Orange. If only we had drawn the Herald of Orange instead of the Warrior Lady. Or whatever. And now is an interesting moment where I could attack with both, but then it would leave my Tragodia in attack position, which he could, like, I don't know, like, deal me damage and attack over it with. And the difference between him being at 1700 and him being at 900 is not much, because next turn my game shot is Alchemist plus Honest. If he kills this Alchemist, I'll just get back this on it Alchemist, and if he bounces it with something like what's that card? Oh, it's my train of thought. Brownic. Then it'll be in our hand, and I can like summon it and attack and use the Honest for game. That being said, this is legitimately why I don't love Honest in specifically the zombie matchup, because if they just don't summon Revived King, it like kind of just rots in your hand. So I usually side 1 out versus zombies, but this game I didn't, and it's definitely punishing me. I attack, he pays 8, passes the turn back, he draws into Plague, and he actually has a game shot here because he has the Allure. So he goes Allure, draw 2, banish the Zombie Master, normal, synchro into Bionic, search Mizuki, Mizuki pitch, bounce the... He thinks for a very long time. And to be fair, my opponent did tell me, like, up front, like, I am very nervous, I watch your YouTube channel, like, he was super cool about it all. But, like, this turn took him, up until this point, of just, like, Allure, normal summon zombie, goblin zombie, whatever, it took him 4 minutes. And, like, if I was playing against you in a tournament, and this was minute 50 of the game, like, we would have already gone into time. So, I definitely would ask you to hurry up, play a little faster, but my opponent's practicing clearly. He's clearly nervous. He's a fan, so I'm like, I'll let him take his time. I got time, he's got time, so I think it's there's a time and a place to not rush people, but be like, hey, can you play in a more timely fashion? And for this, I think it's best to just like see him make the optimal play, because I actually want to see that happen. I want to see this guy crush me, low-key, because I think it will make for a better video. He's going to bounce his back row and the Alchemist. Smart play, playing around the Honest. He's going to go ahead and Mizuki, special summon back Goblin Zombie, stack for Plague, synchro into Revive King, activate the Goblin Zombie. He's going to grab Zombie Master, second one. I really do like the inclusion of the second one in his list. I think it's very good. It just makes the Goblin Zombies that much more better. He's going to go ahead and attack, runs over Trag, attacks for 23. We have no plays, and he's going to flip the return, and that's going to be super lethal. So we are going to go to game 3, return from the different dimension, putting in a ton of work, us not finding our Herald of Orange Light, our Christia, or anything really. We just kind of drew a bunch of normal summons, and that was a little bit unfortunate. I actually took a screenshot of how I sided in this matchup to reflect on it. So for the first game, I sided like this. So for game 1, I sided out Nova Summoner, I sided out 1 Dialk, I sided out, well, you can see what I sided out here. I sided out a Card Trooper, Nova Summoner, Dialk, Legacy of Yugioh. I sided in Compulsory, 1 Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer, and double Dust Tornado. I think Dust Tornado is really important versus zombies. They have a lot of critical back row, like return from the different dimension specifically, that you just need to pop. Now going into game 3, I actually changed this up even further. I sided out Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer because of how he lines up against specifically Krebins and Cyber Dragon. And I sided in Dust Tornado, the 3rd Dust Tornado. So I have 3 Dust Tornadoes, Space Typhoon, and Heavy Storm going into this game. And I believe I also brought back in the Card Trooper over the Sangan as a way to clear Cyber Dragon. I believe. It was either that or I brought in the... what is it? That's not the right game. I brought in the Legacy of Yugioh over the Sangan or something like that. I think that's what I did. Anyway, my opening hand is pretty good. Like, I have Recruiter Christia, but his opening hand is really good too. It's 4 limited cards and a D-Prison. So it's like basically a really like perfect hand. Can't ask for much more. I open up with Raikou, Shining Angel. Now against zombies, it's sometimes bad to lead on Raikou because they have so many of these types of effects that can just attack into it. That being said, he knows I'm on fairies, so it's possible he just won't even attack into it, which makes me feel really silly for not setting the Raikou here. So this is misplay number 1. I didn't set the Raikou. I absolutely should have held the Shining Angel because it's my win con with Christia. So this was a big mistake, actually. A huge game-losing level mistake. And this is just me being fucking frustrated that this match has taken an hour making this type of mistake. This is why you got to play in a timely fashion because, like, eventually my attention span is going to check out. Anyway, sets monster, sets back row, passes a turn back, and now I'm just like, well, fuck me. Like, I can't overcommit into a torrential. I'm just going to flip Shining Angel, attack. It's Sangan. So I'm like, yeah, very likely a torrential because he didn't attack with the Sangan. It makes me look really stupid for not setting the Raikou. Like, I could have Raikou popped the back row and he would have chained torrential and it would have been the same outcome, but he searches Goblin Zombie, so it reinforces my belief that this is a torrential tribute. I go ahead and just pass. Can't commit further into the torrential. He sets another monster, passes after setting another back row. Now that he set another back row, though, I'm pretty happy setting the Raikou because that means there's a non-torrential target. I'm like 100% certain that this is torrential and this is not. He's going to search Plague, set Raikou, set back row, pass. And what did he draw for turn? Mind Control. My opponent is drawing absolutely insane. It's like literally Engine plus like 6 limited cards. Fucking crazy. Mind Control is a set monster. I have to Chain Compulse. It's possible I don't Chain Compulse, but then I just lose my Shining Angel. It all comes back to this stupid bullshit turn of me not setting this first and not sandbagging the Shining Angel until the torrential was gone and then not being able to apply further pressure with the Warrior Ladies on his recruiters. And it just all cascades from one like tiny missequencing with fairies. He does a nice move, but it's like an awkward move, if anything. He's going to be able to make that Revive King Hades. And unfortunately for us, like, we can't overcommit into a torrential, but we also have to play into the D Prison because the Raikou wasn't set. So I have to attack. He's going to go D Prison. I'll Soul Release, banish his monsters, set Alchemist, set Torrential, and then he's going to go ahead and flip this guy. I'm forced to Torrential now. I could wait for him to try and summon again, but of course he drew the one card that brings it back, besides Book of Life, of course. But yeah, we're going to try to add back Shining Angel with a new chain, but he's actually going to make a really smart play. Chain Burial on the Shining Angel and his Plague and his Goblin Zombie, I believe. So yeah, Burial pretty good against D-Elk. But that's fine. I mean, it's another fairy in our grave. All I have to do is find 2 more fairies, right? Anyway, he passes back. He doesn't summon the Revive King. I draw Brain Control. And now I'm thinking, okay, I know the middle set is torrential. And I know that there's a good chance, since he didn't play anything on the last turn, he didn't normal summon anything, he has a back row clear card. Because like every other card in the game he could have played there, pretty much, besides like back row clear or Caius. And my Brain Control with this hand does nothing. So what I need him to do is 1, not rip Book of Life or Foolish, and then 2, spend his back row clear card, and then attack my Raikou, and then my Raikou needs to hit 2 fairies, which I think is like totally reasonable. I'm going to T-set. He's going to draw for turn. He's going to find Zombie Master. He's going to go ahead and Heavy Storm, so 2 for 1 himself, which is good because I needed him to clear the torrential for me to have a shot at special summoning this Christia and sticking it and winning the game. But he was sandbagging the Foolish to get value out of the Revive King. I do think it is good for him to wait here. If I was citing DD Crows and he had seen DD Crow in the last game, it would have been bad to wait. But because I'm not citing DD Crows and he knows that, or he doesn't know that, but he has a good instance of that, then it was actually smart for him to wait on the Foolish. Plus, you don't want to put Revive King into play until you've gotten value out of your Torrential. I did play around his Torrential like well enough to where it was basically forced to be cleared for free. But Revive King is so good against fairies that we're kind of in a tough spot. And now that he spent the Heavy Storm, it's nice because that means if I top deck Mirror Force or other ways to clear Revive King, which I'm not even sure if I have anymore because this list doesn't play D Prison, his back row's clear. Oh, I guess Honest. Then I have ways to clear the Hades through his back row, but it is tough losing the Brain Control because if I draw specifically Herald of Orange Light, the Brain Control would have been an out to Revive King Hades. So it's like you're taking a gamble on whether or not your opponent has specifically Heavy Storm or Space Typhoon, and you need that to be gone so that you can draw further back row out the Hades. Or if you're going to draw into specifically Herald of Orange Light. And I think it's a 50-50 because there are 3 Heralds, and there are also like 4 or 5 ways to clear the Revive King. 2 Honest, 1 Mirror Force. Let me see. If I had drawn like Bottomless Trap Hole or something like that, and he didn't have the Book of Life specifically this turn, I would need to have that be cleared as well. So I think it's closer. It's like slightly more percentages in favor to set the Brain Control and try and bait a Space Typhoon or Heavy now. Plus, if he doesn't have a Space Typhoon or Heavy, there's a chance he like has a Book of Life and then like doesn't go for it on Revive King into our back row. There's like a chance he just goes for a different play. Anyway, he makes a small sequencing error here, but it could be just him playing around the Gores. Something that not a lot of players know is Revive King Hades says negate the effect monster is destroyed by all zombie monsters you control, not just him. So the Zombie Master running over the Raikou would have been more damage for him, but I think he might have just been playing around Gores. If you're playing around Gores here, though, you just don't attack with Zombie Master. He passes back, and we draw specifically Herald of Orange Light, so we are punished for the Brain Control. That being said, like, if I hadn't set the Brain Control and he didn't Heavy Storm, then I would Brain Control his Revive King, Normal Summon Herald of Orange, and he would Torrential me, and he would still have Heavy Storm, and we would still be far off from ever accomplishing anything, and he'd still have Gores. So while we would be in a better spot, it would still play into Torrential. You feel me? So set the Herald of Orange. I basically need to rip another Fairy next turn and crash it, Special Summon Christia, and if that doesn't happen, then I lose. Synchros into Bryonic, attacks the Fairy, attacks for 23. Draw for turn. We draw Bottomless. Too little, too late. Would have been nice last turn to stop this, but alas. Warrior Lady, crash, banish. I need to hope he doesn't draw a monster. Set Bottomless Pass. He draws Deep Prison, so we survive one more turn, but now it's almost impossible for us to win because we can't crash Fairy and Special Christia immediately. We draw Tragodia and we immediately lose. So really awkward sequence of draws there. Not playing well with my Shining Angel Christia opening definitely cost me that game. I think my opponent outplayed me this game, but to be fair, I mean, this game should not have taken 72 minutes. This is definitely, like, to my opponent, Crystal of Darkness, I understand you're nervous and you're playing on camera, and like totally understand, totally respect it, and I respect you a lot as a player. I think you made a lot of great plays. That being said, I think it's pretty unreasonable to expect anyone, especially myself, to sit there for 72 minutes. If you were playing this slow against me and you weren't like a totally chill dude, I would have left, like, straight up. But yeah, basically, I just wanted to show that sometimes it's fun to just sit there and play a game all the way through because it's a good time. Even if your opponent is kind of figuring things out, you know, sometimes I'm in the mood for it. Rarely am I in the mood for it. Usually I just want to play a quick game, but this video definitely was not about quick games. This video is definitely about those, like, finding your win con in the bottom 1% of your deck, basically. But smash like, subscribe. See you guys in the next one. Peace.